All right, folks, welcome back to Kings of Opinion, episode 74. So, I'm super excited. We're right on the cusp. We're 6 games away. I know you're thinking I was going to talk football out of the gate. I'm not doing it. I'm not letting go of baseball yet. Now,
big night.
Yeah, huge
Big
night. And if you were a betting man, which I kind of am, the Yankees are going to close it down tonight without question. Baltimore has been like just going down the toilet dumps. Like I feel like we were talking about this 2 weeks ago and we were worried that
Who's pitching tonight?
I don't even know, don't even care. We're winning. I didn't even check any of that yet. But like they were only a half a game up on the Orioles and somehow the Orioles are still so bad that we gained 6 games in like a week and a half. Which is huge, right? There's almost no way we could fall to this, knock on wood. We'd have to lose all 6 games. But I'm going to go on the record as saying this. Like, I want the Yankees to win these next 6 games. Like, put a hurting on them. The last 2 weeks they've been playing great, just like the Mets, and we'll get into them in a few minutes. And it starts to seem like everything's starting to click. We got a nice little closer out of nowhere. Luke Weaver's been looking great.
Yeah.
And I love his intensity.
I don't know what took them so long to make that switch.
Well, things like that obviously take time because you had a closer in Holmes the whole time. You just got so bad, you couldn't tell that Luke Weaver could be this type of a closer, right? So you throw him in there, and it's almost like a story all the time. He just takes it over. Like some guys won't, they'll falter, and he embraced it. And I like his super pumped up energy. Like after every time a save, he like is like screaming. He's looks like a little guy too. It doesn't look like he's a really big guy.
He's not.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But he's just all pumped up and screaming. Like that's what I love to see. We need more of that, right? And I want the Yankees to close it out tonight, take care of the division tonight, and then sometime in the next couple days. I don't know what the game mark is for the best record in the AL. I'm pretty sure.
I think I just saw they're 5 games ahead of Cleveland for the
that
best
much.
record. I could have sworn.
Well, check that because this is dead. So I got no way to check anything. But I thought they were only 2 games up on Cleveland, so they just can't lose 2 games more than the Guardians right now, right?
Right.
You're right. 2 games.
So
2 games.
if we go 4-6, and they go 4-6, we're tied. We got to win 1 extra. Well, actually, would we be tied? No, if we both go 4-6, we have the 2 games, so we're good. But any variation of 2 games,
And not that it means much, but they still got a chance to get the best record in baseball.
Mm-hmm. I think they're only a game out of that, right?
Yeah.
The 93 for the Dodgers and Phillies.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean that's cool too, especially as a few months ago they were so terrible, and they're still in this kind of position of being, I would say top 3 powerhouse teams in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. But yeah, I don't know, like, I'm excited for playoff baseball. I don't want it to end. Hopefully they could go all the way this year. I want to say I'd like to see a Yankee-Mets World Series again.
Oh, who wouldn't?
It's been 24 years,
Who wouldn't?
right? And now we'll jump real quickly to the Mets. The Mets have been rolling. Best team in baseball since June 1st. Have the best record in baseball since June 1st, right? And at that moment, they were 11 games under 500. I want to say right now, they're 17 games over 500.
Yeah, I think from that span in June, they had like 29 games over 500.
Correct. Yeah, something like that. 28 because they were down 11. So, yeah, it's wild, and they've been doing it the last week without Lindor.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't really get to see much of the baseball this weekend for the Mets. Did you catch anything?
Yeah, I got to watch a bit. Like you said, Lindor was out. I know Nimmo had a couple of big hits. The catcher Alvarez had a couple of big hits too. The game Friday versus the Phillies didn't go their way, but taking 3 out of 4 against Philly,
Huge.
beating Wheeler 2-1 Sunday night. I mean, I would sign up for that.
100%.
So yeah, they're playing well. and I think they swept the series before. So now tonight is part two of, they had the two Cy Young guys back to back. So they passed Sunday, and then we'll see what happens tonight versus Sale.
Awesome. I don't know if they're gonna play tonight. They said there's like some kind of like tropical storm or something or other coming
I
through.
think they're talking more
Is it tomorrow?
tomorrow and
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay, all right. So it's sometime this.
In Atlanta?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
yeah. There's some kind of storm that's brewing over there or coming up to Atlanta.
Gotcha.
I thought they were talking about today, but either which way, something might happen with that, which would kind of suck. Like at this point, you're in a pennant race. They're actually a half game ahead of the Diamondbacks. They got the number 5 spot now.
Oh, I failed to mention another big part of, has been Acuna
Yeah, huge.
Jr. Yeah, he's been clutch in his young career.
And that raises the question too, right? So like Lindor's been out. I did hear reports today. It was earlier breaking news that Lindor was practicing today with the team, and that he'll possibly be available as like a pinch hitter today.
I see.
So he's like almost back. So now what do, right? So I'm looking at your roster, your lineup, and all this stuff. You can't take out Acuna right now. He's been playing too well.
Yeah.
So well that you guys have been winning. So I'm not going to tell you got to sit Lindor. I would never say that because that's crazy. You're talking about a potential National League MVP. You got to bring him back. But it almost looks like the odd man out right now is JD Martinez. In my opinion, he's like, I want to say a 4 or 5 for like 40 or something like that. Like he's in a slump. That's why he hasn't been playing. So like it's almost like an easy fix, right? But like, do you put Lindor back at short if he could play? Do you DH him? Like backs are tricky. I know I have a terrible back. So like for me to sit on the bench all game and just DH is probably worse than actually playing the field. So I'd probably pretty much, and you'd hate to do this to Acuna, but I'd probably switch him. Play Lindor at short and have him DH because you still need his bat.
Right.
And eventually, next year he can play another position, third, second, whatever you need him to do.
Right.
But if you're gonna have Lindor, probably second, I guess, right? Who's their second? Iglesias right now. So
Yeah, he's been he's been good all year, but he's also been good at filling. He's been great at filling in.
yeah, and I think that's a key thing in baseball nowadays. Like if you have like a super veteran that can hit the ball and play like a few positions to have on your bench,
Sure.
that's huge. To me, that's irreplaceable. That's kind of what the Yankees wanted to do with DJ LeMahieu, but then he was just a hit machine. So he worked his way into just being the starting second baseman for a while, or a third baseman or first baseman, and just played every day doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, the Mets are in prime spot right now to do some damage. And it's a funny year, too. I remember last year, right, you had the Dodgers won like 107 games, I think, or something like that, and you had another 100-win team. Was it the Phillies, maybe? Or was it the Astros? Someone else had 100 win. Oh, the Orioles.
Right.
There was a couple of them last year. And even with last year, like I'm trying to compare it to this year. Last year, you had a couple 100-win teams, and none of them went to the World Series, right? You had the Rangers versus the Diamondbacks. Now this year, it's literally impossible to have a 100-win team. So there's more disparity in the league than most years, and at least in recent memory.
Yeah. What's the best we can have? 99, right?
That's it, 99, So with that being said, the door's wide open for almost any team to make the World Series. Because even on a year where guys are winning 107 games, they still didn't make it to the World Series. So now this year, it's almost like just roll the dice and see what happens, right?
Yep. And then what is it? It goes right after straight to the wild card, right? So a week from today, wild card starts, right? Yeah.
The last game's on
Tuesday.
Sunday, so yeah, it'll be Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Everyone gets a day off, and then you have the 3 games, the 3-game sets, all at like the higher seeds home ballpark, which I always thought was weird, but I guess it's just time constraints and everything like that. Like you're not going to fly back somewhere for one playoff game, so I kind of get it, but whatever. I'm just so excited for playoff baseball. I don't know about you guys. I can see Judge having a monster playoffs this year.
Let's hope.
You know?
Let's hope.
Listen, if they stick to what they've been doing, I don't see them losing until at the very least the World Series. Like I don't think there's an AL East team that could.
Do we have an idea of who they're? Let's say they clinch the division tonight. Who they're lined up to face in the first round?
It would be, well, if they had the first seed as well. Like if they just have the first overall seed, it'd be one of the two lower seeds. So I would need something to look at.
It wouldn't be Houston, right? As long as it's not Houston.
No, Houston. So Houston, as of right now, is the third division, right? So you'd have the Yankees on one side, the Guardians on the other side. So they're 1 and 2. Then 3 plays 7, and 4 plays 5. But 5 goes to 4 and 7 goes to 3. So whoever's the 7th spot right now goes to Houston. And then 4 and 5. So who's...
I mean, the Yankees, they have it in their... It's all in their hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get the top spot at this point.
So if they get the top spot, it's the first time in a while that they'd have the first spot and everyone would be coming to them.
Because the only ones that can catch them at this point
is Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah. So as long as they stay off Cleveland, they'll get the divisional round at home. If they get past that, they'll have the ALCS at home. And if they get past that, then it's the World Series. I don't really remember how they do that anymore. I think it's the best record. So they could also have that at home. But we got to see who comes out of the NL, you know? But yeah, Houston's not as good as they normally are. And I really don't care who we play. Like the Yankees should beat any of these teams, any and all. They did it in the regular season for the most part. I think the only playoff team, and I'm blanking on who. I know it's Yankees, Guardians, Houston, Orioles, Kansas City.
No.
Detroit.
Detroit's ahead of Kansas City.
Really? They're ahead right now?
Yeah.
So then it's Detroit and Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And the Twins are like a game out or something like that?
And Seattle as well.
Wait, Detroit is in?
As of right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they came all the way back too. They've been beating the balls off of whoever they've been playing.
Minnesota just fell off the face of the
Yep.
earth, huh?
Well, it's probably better off because if they would have faced the Yankees, they would have lost anyway. And that's a record that I don't want to mess with right now in this kind of year. So I'd rather them not make the playoffs. Just face everybody else. Because you're bound to, like, that record's bound to snap. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, like, I don't want to deal with that this year. I would go nuts if they lost to Minnesota. But either which way, you know, they're all tough teams in their own right, and everyone's got their own issues, but I can't see the Yankees losing to these teams if they just do the simple things that they've been doing the last couple of weeks. You know? And same thing with the Mets. Mets have been hitting well, pitching well, and if you would have asked anybody at the beginning of the season or even before it, if you would have thought their pitching staff would have made it this far and had, how well they've been pitching, I don't think anyone would have believed it.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
So we're in good. We're like by our next.
So who are they finishing with? They got Atlanta, and then who's after
Milwaukee.
Atlanta? Milwaukee.
They got a tough 6 games. You know, very tough.
And Milwaukee's already got their division locked up, so
That could be like just the only good thing where they might rest people. And then I think what are they? Are they close to the number 1 seed? Because then they might not do that.
they are
How many games?
4.
Who do they play this week?
Let's see.
Yeah, I think either which way they're gonna. Four's a lot.
Pirates. They're playing the Pirates.
Oh, so if they win, if they sweep the Pirates, oh, that sucks for the Yankees because then the Yankees got to sweep the Pirates too. If they win those 3 games, and let's say the Dodgers falter or Philly falters, if they pick up 2 games, then they're gonna go hard with the Mets because they're gonna want that 1 seed. It's almost impossible. They'd have to sweep the 6 games and hope these other guys lose 4 out of 6,
Yeah.
which is not likely.
What's going on with the White Sox? Did they break the loss record yet?
Last I heard, they tied it. That was over the weekend.
Okay, so they're at 120 now. Is that what the?
That's the record.
Okay.
So they got to lose 1 more game, and they have the modern day baseball worst record,
That's crazy.
isn't it? And the Yankees lost a game to them.
120 losses.
Ugh. And you still have 6 games to go. How bad is that? Oh, anyway. All right. So I guess it's time for football, right, guys?
Oh, God.
I think next week we'll do like the baseball preview since it'll all be wrapped up anyway, like the playoff preview.
Yeah.
So we'll do that next week.
Yeah,
But
it'll be wild card Tuesday.
yeah, Wild Card Tuesday. Just not to be confused with Taco Tuesday. We don't do that here anymore. But so let's talk about the Sunday afternoon game, Ravens versus the Cowboys.
You don't want to start with the
No,
Thursday night.
I want to enjoy that talk. I want to start with this one, and I'll tell you why. It's very simple. Like I was at work all day, and work was dragging, right? And I got to watch some football, and that was the game that I was able to watch, right? I watched the Giants and then that game, so back to back. So we can start with the Giants because I kind of want to save the Jets for last this time. Like I want to enjoy that Patriot, Jet game.
Save the first game for last.
Yeah, I really do. Like I really want to get into it. So I watched the Giant game, and
Right.
out early Cleveland, it was wild too. Like I think it was a fumble, and Cleveland scores a touchdown on the first play, and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a long game for the Giants,
Yeah.
right? And they came pretty much right back, tied the game. Their defense played really well. They made a bunch of fourth quarter stops at the end of the game.
Yeah.
To lock the game up. There were some questionable calls made by the coach that he could have been a little bit more aggressive and put some more points on the board just to separate it. It got a little like, I don't know, like almost got like my stomach was turning a little bit, like the Giants were going to blow it. Yeah, exactly, a little antsy. That they were going to blow this at the end because they were on the road. But to their credit, Daniel Jones played well. They ran the ball well.
Neighbors looked good.
Neighbors looked fantastic. Did you see those touchdown catches he made? One was better than the other. It was crazy. I have him in my fantasy, just saying. I mean, I picked him. So he did all right by me. The rest of my team was trash. But anyway, that's a story for later on. But yeah, they looked really, really good. And now they come in, and we'll get to this in a few minutes because I want to go to the Ravens-Cowboy game because that was a really absurd game to me.
I don't know what's going on with that defense.
The defense, second week in a row, they looked awful.
Jesus.
I mean, they played Derrick Henry. I get it.
But after week one, it made it sound like these guys were so thrilled. I mean, the last few seasons, I thought the defense was great under Dan Quinn, and then all of a sudden, game one, they're like, oh, there's, they're like Parsons is loving having Zimmer there. I don't see it, man. I don't know.
What
They are miserable.
what I thought was weird about the game is the Ravens went on a tear. Dak Prescott looked terrible for the first three quarters.
He was making some really bad throws.
Yeah,
It's like,
a lot of them were behind the receivers.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. And to be fair, I've never really seen him play like that. And we watch him a lot, obviously, because we're always at Fallon's watching all the games. I've never really seen him play like that. And then, like, I'm watching the game, and I was loving it, to be fair, because I was going against Dak Prescott in one of my fantasy leagues. So I'm like, oh, good, he only has 5 points. I had Anthony Richardson. He was trash on Sunday. So I'm like, I need Dak to be terrible so he matches up evenly. And then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter came, and it's almost like the Ravens, like, gave up.
Yeah.
They almost, like, said, oh, we got this game in the bag. These guys aren't going to, like, try and come back. And then all of a sudden, Dak Prescott decided he wanted to play football. And then he just starts throwing the ball everywhere.
Yeah, they had a chance at the end.
They had not just a chance, if I recall correctly, they had 2 or 3 chances.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden, like, the Ravens started playing, and it was, like, back and forth battles, and they were moving the ball, then they had to punt it, and then, like, they were going back and forth. And I'm like, what happened?
meanwhile, it just goes to show you 1 or 2 stops earlier in the game by the defense, and it would have been a completely different game. But the most disappointing thing is C.D. Lamb. I don't know what the hell was wrong with him. On
Well,
Sunday.
I could kind of tell you what's wrong with him. He wasn't around in the preseason,
Well,
and that to a T is what's going on, because he hasn't gotten off to a hot start.
but I didn't like what I saw with his behavior, man. It acted like a little baby.
Well, listen, we all know that these wide receivers are like that. Someone needs to check him. You know, in the locker room, someone's be like, yo, you need to chill out, bro. Like, we get it. You were trying to get more money.
I think I saw something that, I don't know if it was him singled out, but they said that Dak called out his teammates after the game or something like that.
Not only that, and this is bizarre. Did you see his interview?
Mm-mm.
I saw a clip of it, and it was almost like he was talking. I wish we could pull it up. He was talking like he just lost like the Super Bowl, and he had a fantastic game. He's like, "This is why Jerry Jones gave me my contract. I went out there and played football and do this and that." And I'm like, "Dude, you were asleep at the wheel for 3 quarters. What are you talking about?" And almost the way he was talking, almost like he just won the game. You still lost. You might have made it a little closer, but I'm sorry to tell you, pal. And if you don't play for 3 quarters and then stage a comeback in the fourth and fall, like a touchdown short or a field goal, whatever it was, but you still fall short, you didn't do well.
Yeah.
Because, okay, yeah, he threw for 300 yards. Probably, I think it was like 370 or something like that. Probably 200 of that was in the fourth quarter. Great. And he threw, I think it was 2 touchdowns or something like that. Also fantastic. But where were you the first 3 quarters where you could have made it a game the whole entire game?
Yeah.
And, you want to throw your guys under the bus for playing terrible defense or not catching this or not catching that. Okay, that's your prerogative, right? But if he has another game like this, I wouldn't be surprised if some of his teammates call him out now.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that. Like, to me, like, that game could have been, I was looking forward to that game, and the point spread, I don't know how they matched that, and, like, it was that close. But early on, like, just watching that game, the first half, Dak was literally a no-show.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And I think the Ravens just let him back in, which also is not cool, Ravens, because you're supposed to have really good defense, and you're not supposed to be, like, getting ready to go on the bus and go home in the third quarter or really most of the fourth quarter. There's fantasy relevance running around here.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, you knew it was going to be a tough game. I mean, did anybody think that there were a lot to win? No, I don't think so. But you at least want to show up and
Yeah.
you wanted it to see it be a game all game long, not just in the
Fourth
last
quarter.
10 minutes.
Right, exactly. And I think that was just all the Ravens like, oh, they're not going to be able to come back. And then all of a sudden they look at the score and they pretty much came back.
And especially when you're at home.
Right.
And you got a kicker who's kicking 66-yard field goals. I mean, Jesus.
Right. 100%. It's crazy. To me, that was just a very weird game to watch. And I think both teams need to do better moving forward.
They better beat up on the Giants. I'll tell you one thing.
Well, so let's get to that. So that's Thursday. That's in a couple days. They have the Thursday night game. Quick turnaround for both teams. So, listen, everything is, I think they're going to MetLife, right?
Yeah.
So you got that going for you because you've got a streak for like 10 years that you haven't lost at MetLife. So that's good on the Dallas side. But their bugaboo is Dallas's defense is dead last in the league right now.
Yeah.
The one thing the Giants have been doing well, and not even just including their last game, but just in general, is like their offensive line has been coming together and they've been running the ball well. Derrick Henry just put up a monster game against the Cowboys. The week before that, Kamara went off. So if the Giants are smart, they would test them early with the run. And they also got Neighbors who looks, like you guys said, phenomenal. It could be a tough game right now for Dallas if they're teetering. Like right now, like I don't read too much into like the locker room stuff and all that, but if Dak called out his guys and if they don't rebound, if they lose to the Giants after not losing to the Giants for like, I think it's like literally 8 years or something like that, heads are going to roll. Everyone knows Jerry Jones. Heads are going to start rolling. And there's nothing you can really do about Dak. It's going to be other people.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
And the next time they play will be on Thanksgiving.
Oh, are they playing on Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
That's a monster game too.
So Giants, Cowboys is Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's going to be an awesome Thanksgiving. So yeah, and then we had, did you see the 49er Rams game?
No.
Oh, I didn't either, to be fair, everyone out there. I didn't really see it. I saw the highlights. But I was monitoring it on my phone, and like, at one point, I don't know if it was close or not, but like San Fran was winning, and then the Rams came back, and won in like the last few seconds with a field goal. And that's the Rams without like no offense. Like both their star wide receivers
are not looking good for San Fran.
No.
What did they say that McCaffrey went to Germany or something to get?
Yeah, for his like calf, right, or his hamstring, whatever is hurting him.
That's not good.
No, it's not. I mean, their running back right now is still good. It's their defense. They've been giving up like uncharacteristically. They're giving up points to these teams that they shouldn't be losing to. Not that the Rams aren't bad.
Yeah, because their offense was good. They scored, right?
Yeah, it's their defense right now. And the Rams don't have much of an offense. They're missing like half their offensive line. They're missing their 2 stud wide receivers. But somehow, and it's a testament to Matthew Stafford, he still gets it done. Like he was throwing the ball to, what's his name? The running back. Is it Kyrie Williams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a monster game in fantasy, like 30 points. So it looks like he just was passing him the ball all game and doing his thing. But I wish I was at Fallon's watching that game. That game looked like it was a really exciting game. That's the game the Cowboys and Ravens should have had.
Yeah.
Like it seemed to me like it was back and forth, and then boom at the end, Stafford just took it over and won. What else do we got? The Raiders got destroyed by the Panthers. Andy Dalton comes back.
Yeah.
And throws for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first start in probably a while. That was kind of crazy.
A long while.
Yeah. I think he's been with Carolina for a few years as a backup now, right?
I know he was there last year.
100%, but I think he's been there for a little while. And I don't know what the hell what's going on with the Raiders. Like Antonio Pierce said, he's like, some people made business decisions, so I'm gonna make some business decisions and whatever. I don't really know.
I saw that, but I didn't know what.
Like I'm assuming he meant like
about.
that once they were like losing by a bunch, they just decided not to play. Kind of like what the Ravens were probably doing on defense to let the Cowboys back in the fourth, but they did it apparently much earlier. And I guess he thought that basically his team quit. And I guess the business decision, meaning like, we don't want to go and get hurt and try and come back. We'll just mail it in, lose this game, and try again next week. So he was all pissed off. So he's like, we're gonna have to make business decisions by ourselves, you know. So I don't know if he's gonna bench people, switch stuff up, or whatever.
I know that they said. I saw earlier that Gardner Minshew is not getting pulled.
No, because the guy behind him is not much better. He played last year. He was terrible. Aiden O'Connell, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. He's terrible. I think I saw him last year in Vegas against the Jets. That was like, and the Jets lost 16-12. It was awful. It was one of the worst games I've ever watched.
And what about your Bengals, bro?
Bro,
0-3.
Joey B.
And he threw for 300. I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him because he's so good.
And he brought his team back like he was. Listen, Jaden.
Washington played out of
their mind. Like it's on the TV right now. Jaden, what is his name? Daniels. Thank you. He played amazing, but like it seems like the Bengals in the beginning of the year never have any defense ever, and Joe Burrow just has to keep throwing the ball. Like he had a great game. He had over 300 yards, I think himself too, and at least 2 touchdowns, if not 3. I'm not sure, but like I don't know, man. I just feel bad for him. I wouldn't be surprised if after his contract's done, he goes somewhere else because he's still relatively young, where he could try and win a Super Bowl like Matthew Stafford did with another team that's more promising. And I'll tell you this right now, I don't know when his contract is up. I'm hoping it's in like 2 or 3 years, right in time for Aaron Rodgers to fade into the sunset, and then the Jets could trade for this guy or just straight up sign him. Because that would probably be all we need at that point, because you'd still keep the team good, because you still have Aaron Rodgers every year. So you get a new year of draft picks, and then boom, we'll take Joe Burrows, Joe Cool, you know? And that's it. But yeah, I feel bad for this kid. He's a really good football player too, you could tell. And did he have T. Higgins play this game?
Yes.
Okay. I wonder if he got any action.
He did a little bit, not a ton, but he did get a little bit.
Okay, that's good. Look at this stat. 6 teams since 1966 have made playoffs after starting 0-3.
Yeah. I mean, Washington just played out of their ass. And of course, Eckler was looking amazing and then got hurt.
Oh, he did get hurt?
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I'm shocked he didn't get hurt.
concussion.
Oh, really? So he got hit hard, huh?
And he was playing really well.
That happened to Trey McBride, too, over the weekend, which sucks. Upset about that. He's my tight end. So I lost all 3 of my fantasy football games this weekend. All 3. And I went into the 4 o'clock games cruising. And then one after another, people just kept shitting the bed. What's going on with Mark Andrews? Can anyone explain this to me? Like, he didn't have a single catch, point, anything.
He only had one
Target. Yes.
Wow.
What the F is going on with this guy?
I don't know.
You know?
I was stunned when I saw that. I didn't even, I watched the whole game and I didn't even realize that.
I have him in 2 of my leagues, and I traded for him. And at the time, everyone was like, steal of a trade, Rye. Because I wanted to, this is why I'm never going to trade on draft day ever again. I traded Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, and Njoku for Mark Andrews, George Pickens, and the running back that's supposed to be phenomenal from the Panthers that's injured. What was his name? Brooks or something like that? And I thought that was a fair trade, but good trade for me because I needed a running back in a couple weeks. And I had like a slew of wide receivers. Because I had Neighbors, I had Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I have Xavier Worthy. So I still was like, I have 3 still good wide receivers, and I have Pickens, so that he was supposed to be like a sleeper, and he hasn't shown it yet. I mean, he's doing okay, but he's not getting 20 points. He's getting like 10 to 12. But I was like, when this running back comes back, I'll have James Cooks and him, and he's supposed to be a beast. And maybe that could get me to the playoffs. Right now, I'm 1-4 in that league. I'm awful. I can't even make the median because you can win 2 games every week if you pass the median. I only did it once in 3 weeks. I'm 1-4, and I was projected to win every week. Guys are crap in the bed. You know, my friend Mike I made the trade with. Only Nico Collins is doing good because he dropped Njoku already because he got hurt. Week 1, and DK's okay. Like I think he caught a touchdown or 2 in the first 3 weeks. But I don't know how good he's doing, but it looks like he's winning the trade so far. But he's still not winning. The rest of his team is trash too. So we're like garbage. I'm like, whatever, man. Fantasy sucks. You're so lucky you got out of it.
This year does suck.
Lucky me.
Well, you know what it is too? It's the first month of the season, so everyone sucks.
Yeah.
Like you'll have one guy with a good game, or you have a few guys that are having like Josh Allen, prime example. Great so far, first 3 games.
Jaguars suck.
The Jaguars suck. You know what I mean? The Bengals were trash. Like Joe Burrows finally comes around, has a fantastic game, they still lose. And like they need to start winning. Because if they keep losing, he's not gonna play. Like towards the end when you need him in the playoffs. So I have to find another quarterback. You know? I don't know. These things suck. But anyway, the Jet game. We saved it for last for a reason. So just like Dallas owns the Giants, the Patriots have owned the Jets. And I was so nervous on Thursday. So nervous. Because like, it's going to be the same old Jets. They're going to just break my heart. They're going to be 1-2. Like, and
I think a lot of people were picking the Pats.
yeah. I don't know. I just still had to pick the Jets. I just wanted to be right one time. Because remember me last year, I constantly lost with the Jets. And I was like, it's almost unfair that I have to pick the Jets every week because it's just almost an automatic loss. But anyway, but they showed up. And even better, Aaron Rodgers looked amazing. It's like he took some kind of like youth serum and went back 5 years and he was running all over the place. You know, it was kind of crazy. And he was throwing the ball all over the place, just like laying it in there, like right to the back shoulder. No one could get it but his receiver. He looked really well.
Yeah, he did. He looked like old Aaron.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, MVP Aaron Rodgers. And then he had the running game was good, the offensive line was good, the defense was good. Like we laid it on the Patriots.
Tell me a little bit about this nonsense that's going on about the hug after the game.
I saw that. I didn't see it during the game, but then you see it all over social media. Did you see what he said in the interview? Or no?
No.
So in the interview, he basically said he's like, Salah's not really a hugger. He's like a pusher guy.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that.
And then he's like, he said, he told me he's not going to be happy until he gets a 2-touchdown lead or a 2-score lead, basically, so 10 or better. So when he went to hug, he's like, I pushed him away, and I said 2-score lead. And if you read his lips, he said 2-score lead.
Oh, so that's what they were talking about. With
So the push wasn't for him to get away so much.
It wasn't time for the hug.
It was exactly. It wasn't time yet for the hug because they weren't up to 2 scores.
Gotcha.
And then if you look at the video, you see him say it. So I kind of believe him. And whether or not like he didn't want the hug, maybe we'll never know. I don't care. The Jets won. If he's that intense for the Jets, I love it. Salah, do whatever you got to do. Don't hug the guy. Hug the guy if he. I don't care if he body slams you. Just let him do what he's got to do because he looked great.
Yeah.
And then it was funny, like in Tennessee, I was watching Aaron Rodgers, and I've liked Aaron Rodgers since he was playing with Green Bay. And I finally got to see him in person. And in the beginning of the game in Tennessee, he was just taking the play calls from whoever he was taking the play calls from, and he was just doing it, and they got off to a rough start in Tennessee. And then it switched somewhere in like the second, maybe even the third quarter, where he started audibling, and I could see him doing his thing, like, and then just doing whatever. He's now taking control of the offense. Like, I don't think whatever play he gets is official. Once he reads the defense, he's going to audible almost every time. And that's what you got him for. Because when he does that, especially when I saw it in the second half with Tennessee, the Jets were moving the ball. And you saw it against the Patriots. The Jets were moving the ball so much. Even though they didn't score all the time, they kept their offense on the field for more than 3 downs. Yeah. And that's huge.
What about this rookie running back? He's looking fantastic too.
Braylon Allen?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome too. Like, it sucks if you're a Breece Hall fan. They haven't really gone by committee yet. It's still a Breece Hall show. But if Braylon Allen keeps doing what he's doing, because he's scoring touchdowns
you got no choice.
Right, and he's breaking runs. And I'm not going to be selfish because I picked Breece Hall in 2 of my leagues this year to win me a championship. But if they split by committee and it gets the job done and the Jets win the Super Bowl, so be it. But it's a good compliment because he's a year removed from his injury, Breece Hall. So if he comes in and gets a little bit of a rest every now and then and he's not playing every down, that's great. From what they're saying, he's still going to get his 20 touches. And he's better than Braylon Allen. And Allen is younger. He's only 20.
Yeah.
So
he's the young. They got the oldest guy in the league and the youngest guy in the
right,
league.
which is wild, right? So it's cool. You don't have to do by committee because you need Hall to get going because he has that potential to break out for like 60, 70-yard runs with a touchdown. It's still early in the season, so let's see how it develops. I think they'll be fine. But yeah, they look good.
Lazard looked good.
It finally took him a couple games, but it looks like he's going to get most of the action when they're double teaming Wilson. And that's the only thing I worry about right now is the Wilson and Rodgers connection because you need to give the ball. You need to find a way to get the ball to Wilson. Whether it's a screenplay or something.
Everything you listen to when he's like, with the Thursday night games, all the interviews and stuff, he loves Rodgers.
Yeah. We just got to get him the ball because he's got the hands of just like Neighbors where you could just throw him the ball, he's going to grab it, and he's going to take off. Like, it's nice that he's playing the game with Lazard right now, but we can't forget how many balls he dropped last year and even the beginning of this year. The first couple of games, he was dropping balls left and right, especially in that San Francisco game.
Yeah.
So you got to remember that like, you got a younger guy who's our number 1 first-round pick. Like, let's figure out a way to get this guy the ball. It's not going to be every game because you're going to have spots where you're playing really tough defenses and then you just go to the open guy. But, like, when you're playing bum teams, like this week against Denver, they have a really good defense, but Wilson is good enough to beat their secondary. Make sure he gets that ball. Yeah. All right. Let's see how we did with our picks last week. Am I still in the lead? Am I down? Yeah? Oh, it was bad, huh?
Well, I gotta have an assumption that you know how you did last week.
I know I won with the Jets and I lost with the Raiders. I don't know who my other 2 were.
You didn't pick the Raiders last week.
Oh, I did? I thought I picked the Raiders and Panthers, no?
Oh my God.
See, I told you, I don't even know.
So your week shouldn't even count then if you don't even know what teams you picked.
That's not true. That's why we got this computer and you doing the stats. I think that's what that was for.
That's baloney.
Oh, whatever.
Anyways,
You love bologna, especially when I make you the nice bologna wraps for golf.
Pugs took the week at 4-0.
Oh! High five! I think that's my first 4-0.
Which is baloney because you don't even know what teams you picked.
Apparently, I know a winner when I see one.
And then Wanderer and I both went 1-3.
Oof!
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
It's not looking pretty right now.
Oh my god.
Pugs lead
up
the
to
pack
2
at
wins.
9-3. I'm at 3-9, and Wanderer's at a 2-10.
Oof! Oh!
Not good.
Ah! Oh, I remember. I picked the Steelers over the Chargers. I won that one. Who were the other two?
Ravens and the Colts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I forgot about the Ravens. I did pick the Ravens. All right, so we'll start with this week's picks. First off, the Bengals and Panthers. I don't see the Bengals going 0-4, especially against the Panthers. Even though it's a trap game, because Andy Dalton used to play there, and the Bengals are getting giving 4.5 points.
Yeah.
I see Burrows doing what he's going to do. They're going to win comfortably. Give me the Bengals. We move on to the Broncos and the Jets. -7.5, if I'm correct. I'm going to take the Jets. They're at home. They're not in Denver. The crowd is going to be going crazy because I can't remember last time we were 2-1, let alone 3-1. And I'm going to mark it down. They're going to be 3-1 this week after them beat the Broncos. And then we got the poorly Jags versus the Texans. Texans just got a shellacking against Minnesota. I think they bounce back. This is a little high for my liking, -7. But I'm going to chance it because I didn't like a lot of these other games this week. So I think the Jags are just so trash right now. Yeah. That the Texans are going to bounce back in a big way. CJ Stroud's going to have a monster game. And I can see them winning by more than 7. I wouldn't be surprised if they won by 7 and I get the push. But so what? Whatever.
Push is a loss.
I know. But that's okay. I'll take it though. It's still, my last game is the Rams versus the Bears. The Bears are giving the Rams 2.5.
Yep.
I'm going to take the Rams. That's that. After what I saw Stafford do against San Francisco, I know the Bears are somewhat of a tough defensive team as well, but their offense isn't really clicking. Caleb Williams doesn't look great. And after I saw what Stafford did, I see them winning in Chicago. And he's no stranger to Chicago because he was playing with Detroit all those years, so he should be fine. And those are my picks.
All right. I too am going with the Jets. I think we saw some good things that are on the horizon with them. So let's go Jets.
That's right. Jump on the bandwagon early.
Next, I'm taking the Vikings, who are getting 2.5. Hopefully, Sam Darnold's not too banged up. They've been looking really good.
Side note on that, his knee's fine. It's just a bruise.
Yeah. I too agree with you and the Bengals. I can't see them going 0-4. I think Joey Burrow is going to do everything he can to make sure that they win that game.
Yeah, he's going to be Superman.
Yeah.
100%.
And lastly, of course, not with much confidence, I'll take the Cowboys, giving 5.5. How the Cowboys are giving 5.5 on the road with the way they've played the last 2 weeks is beyond me.
That boggles my mind.
That's telling me Vegas is begging everybody to take the Giants, and the Cowboys are going to steamroll them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised one bit.
I mean, common sense tell you, worst defense in the league, shellacked the last 2 weeks, and they're on the road and they're giving 5.5 points
Wild to me.
to a team who's coming off a win.
Right, and a big win at that, on the road. Wild. All right, Wander, your show, buddy.
All right, let's go. Can only go up from here.
All right.
First up, I also like the Vikings getting 2.5. They've been playing very well. I think that continues Sunday in Green Bay. Next up, I have the Saints getting 1.5. at the Falcons. I just think the Saints are the better team, and I think they get it done. Third up, I'm taking the Steelers, -1.5. That's versus the Colts. Steelers off to a hot start at 3-0. I hope it continues Sunday by at least 2 points. And then fourth, I'm also taking Dallas. I don't like this game at all. I wish I didn't have to pick it, but hopefully the trend of them beating the Giants continues. Hopefully that'll happen.
Not for nothing. Now you know how I felt last year when I was picking the Jets all the goddamn time. At least sometimes I picked against the Jets and I would still lose. Either which way, I was screwed. But anyway, neither here nor there. That was last year's stuff. This year, I'm number one right now, 9-3. I'm gonna keep this going this week. Try and do another 4-0 slate. I almost wish I would take my own picks and bet them because I would have made some money this weekend.
Yeah, too bad your fantasy's not going the same way as your.
Nope, not yet. Well, I'm 2-1 in one league. I don't know what you are in one league.
I'm 2-1 in one league and 0-3 in the other.
Okay. I'm 1-2, 2-0, 2-1, and 1-4. But we're gonna make a comeback, folks. I'm gonna work this waiver wire this week like a magician, and we're gonna get this going.
On the waiver wire.
I know. Well, are you talking about the league we're in together?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how that's possible. Our benches aren't even that big, so I don't know where all these people are. But whatever.
There is nothing out there.
Oh, there's one or two. I can't discuss.
Nothing out there.
I can't discuss. But there's somebody out there. There's somebody. Before we move on to the stuff that we've been watching, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I finally get Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback on my fantasy team, and he's absolute dog shit.
Yeah, he's not getting
Well,
it done.
no quarterback is really doing anything this year. Nobody's really throwing. What has it been? 4 guys that have thrown over 300 yards so far?
Correct, but there's still guys that are putting up 20-something points because they can either run the ball.
Very few.
Jackson.
Very few.
Jackson's one of them. Allen's another one. I don't know. There's a few of them out there. It's just not mine. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I finally got him.
If you think about it, though, by fantasy standards, I would say Jackson and Allen, tend to be high scorers with the dual threat.
Correct. You're 100% right. They were gone before I was able to pick. But when Mahomes fell to me, I'm like, okay,
You think you're still getting great value?
Yeah, I'm getting like 23 to 27 points from him because he normally throws a lot of touchdowns. And then he does these weird runs. He also rushes a little bit too. Not as much as those guys, but he'll get like 20 or 30 yards here or there because he knows what he's doing. Yeah. But I feel like I didn't have to, when I picked him, I'm like, I don't have to worry about quarterback. Yeah. This week he got 17 points. And then the last week I think it was like 18 or 19. I'm like, what?
I guess it's unfortunate too when the running back goes down.
Right.
It's going to affect him somewhat.
Especially Pacheco, he was having a monster year early on. Yeah. It was a shame he hurt himself like that. But I'm going to stick with him because he gets better through the season.
Yeah.
So hopefully he starts getting it together. I really want him to work in Worthy a little bit more because he had that first week a monster game and then he's been almost non-existent. So it's weird. Like he's just throwing the rice all day. I almost wish Rice got suspended, so Worthy would have been good. But what are you going to do? NFL doesn't really suspend players anymore for what they do off the field. But yeah, that's it. What do we got for the entertainment side of things?
Well, we talked about Penguin.
Yeah, and you guys loved it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
You think
good.
I should start watching it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Although you know what I saw that I think you'll like a lot? Seemed like it was something right up your alley, and I didn't even realize, I don't remember ever hearing about it, and I couldn't believe the people that were in the movie, but Borderlands?
Oh, okay, it was also a video game, but...
Oh, is that what it was? It was a video game?
Yeah, but I think it wasn't in the theater for very long.
Okay.
But it was good?
Yeah, it was
cool.
It was entertaining. Something that I think Pugs would definitely love.
Oh, what'd you see it on?
You know what I saw. Same thing I see everything on.
Let me rephrase the question. How can I watch it?
Oh, I don't know. Well, you got your...
I'm sure it'll be streaming on something. So.
Yeah, the app.
Oh, so it was just recently in the movie theaters?
Yeah, but then I did see, I think, like, one of those commercials where it was like now I guess you can, pay for it.
Oh, okay. So in a couple weeks it'll be out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kevin Hart was in it, which I didn't realize, and then what's her name? Oh my God, I'm gonna forget her name now.
And this is a video game. What kind of video game was it?
I didn't know that.
It was like a, like a
First-person shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out soon when it comes out on whatever it comes out on, because I got all these streaming sites. Anything else?
No, that's about it. I haven't been watching too much.
Yeah, I don't know. Did I talk about finishing the other show that I was watching? It's not the Lord of the Rings. What was the other thing? The House of Dragons?
Yes, you did. last week.
Okay.
Finishing it?
Yeah, I finished it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I talked about it last week. I talked about it last week?
Mhm.
Okay, so I really didn't watch much this weekend. I started the Lord of the Rings
Oh, right.
show. Was it Rings of Power?
Mm-hmm.
It's really. Did you start watching it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh, you gotta watch it. If you like the Lord of the Rings, you'll like this. It's literally like a little. I don't want to say little before the Hobbit. It's hard to tell, but it's basically when they forged all those rings.
I see.
You know what I mean? And they're starting to do it in this season, the second season, and it looks really cool. And do you remember in the first Lord of the Rings trilogy how those like I guess like dead kings, they had like those
Yeah.
big helmets and they're like the shadow of ghosts or whatever, where it was chasing Frodo?
Yeah.
Just a wild guess, but I think the people that forge these rings and then whoever they hand them to are those people.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So at some point, I don't know if it's this season or how many seasons. I think they're going to have a third season already signed up for it. But at some point, you're going to see it tie into The Hobbit, and then it flows into the original Lord of the Rings thing.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty cool. I like it,
Oh, another one that just started back up too was Tulsa King.
Oh, yes. I got to start watching that too.
Yeah.
Shit, I got to put that on my list. My list is growing now because a lot of shows are starting to come back
Yeah.
all of a sudden. So, a lot of TV watching.
That was a pretty good first episode.
Oh, there's only one episode out right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. So I got a little bit of time. That I have to binge. I could wait for that. So maybe I'll start the Penguin once I'm almost done with the Lord of the Rings thing. Because I'll have like a day before I have to wait for the season finale of it. So I'll watch that and then boom, watch the season finale and boom, pick up with the Penguin and do something like that. Did you any of you guys watch the Snowpiercer?
No.
No, I
I saw the movie. A long time
constantly come across it, but I've never. That was the first season was what, last year?
3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
This is I think the fourth season.
Wow.
But this is the last season. And I'm up to date with it as far as I could start watching this fourth season. It's just almost done. So I'm gonna be watching that soon too. The first 2 seasons are good. It's a lot like it's after I think the movie.
Okay.
That seems to be the way things are going nowadays, right? Shows are doing 4 seasons tops, and that's about it.
I mean, it makes sense, unless you're Walking Dead and you like split off into all these different factions and TV shows.
Enough of The Walking.
I know.
I feel like I haven't watched The Walking Dead in like 15 years, and it's still on.
Yeah, and
It's still coming out with new shows.
right, like we just saw the commercial for Daryl Dixon, and it's the Carol Chronicles or whatever they call it.
The Book of Carol.
Yeah, the Book of Carol. Like it's like almost like the New Testament or something like that. I didn't even watch the one with Rick yet. I still have it on my DVR from like over the summer because it's only 6 episodes. So I think one day I started watching the first episode and I just never finished it. You know what I mean? I still gotta watch that. But because that's the only character I really wanted to see again was Rick, because they cut him not early. Like he probably did the show for like 8-9 years, but the show went on for like 13 or 14 years. And he wound up coming back just for like, I guess that little mini series, and that's it. But yeah, I don't have anything else that I watched. I've been all sports this last week.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, Penguin. I got to watch that yesterday. Well, I think I finished it today, but yeah, definitely really enjoyed that. I like, I guess the theme and how it looks. I think like it could bring in like a wide range of a bigger audience, I guess, than just your comic book fans. Because my mom actually said, she's like, "Did you hear about this show?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So like my mom was hyped for it, and she doesn't watch any type of superhero or comic stuff. I think she's also a fan of Colin Farrell. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of that. HBO too, they do a lot. They put out a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, they do.
I watched a couple of episodes of the Terminator anime on Netflix.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good. It's subtitles. I don't know if Ryan's gonna go for that, but maybe there's an option that's dubbed. So yeah, I only watched a couple, but it's good. They're like short.
Are they like? Is it like in between movies, or is it just own a separate thing, or?
I'm not really sure yet, to be honest. Oh well, I mean, I guess you could say in between because obviously they mention when Skynet goes live and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe if different jumps maybe. What was I gonna say? What else have I seen? I think I only watched the first episode of season 2 of The Old Man. Did you watch any more of
No,
that?
I gotta watch that.
I watched the first episode, yes, but like in and out. I didn't sit there and watch it through.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
pretty good.
I heard that's a good show too.
Oh,
it is. Yeah.
That's on what, FX or something like that, or
Yeah.
AMC?
Yep.
Okay.
FX, Hulu.
The first season was surprisingly good. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was going to be as good as it was.
The first episode of the whole thing is awesome.
Really?
It's like a movie. What
Yeah,
else?
check this out.
Did I see anything else?
Yeah, that's a good option to watch because by the time you're done with the first season, then you'll be ready to plow through the second season.
Yeah,
Good point.
yeah, 100%.
I
gotta fit it in.
I don't think I saw anything else, but I think that Menendez brothers thing.
It came out on Netflix, yeah.
I don't
There
know.
was another documentary that somebody told me about that came out at the same time as like Menendez Brothers. That was very good. I forget what they said it was. Is there another documentary that just?
There's that chimp one, but I only saw the first episode of that.
Mm.
Oh, how's Bad Monkey going? I gotta watch that
Oh
too.
right, Bad Monkey. Yeah, I've been watching it. I think there's like maybe one episode left, maybe a couple. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into these soon. I just got another week of catching up with this Marvel stuff, and then I'll be rocking and rolling with some of these TV shows.
Thank you. That just sparked my mind. I think I watched the first 2 of Slow Horses, the new season, and I like that.
So, me saying Marvel, John, do you remember of Slow Horses?
No, Bad Monkey. 'Cause they're both on Apple.
I was gonna say. I was like, how did that happen? How'd you get to that? All right. So, slow week for entertainment. Good thing we talked about a lot of sports today.
Yeah.
You got some tunes for us for the folks?
Let's go. We have 3 picks as usual. First up, Blue in Exile with Love the Ominous World. Next up is The Alchemist with The Genuine Articulate. And third up, Jake 1 with 1296. Those are the 3 picks for this week.
Excellent. That rounds off our last week of pretty much regular season baseball and week 3 of football. Super stoked for next week's episode. We'll have a lot of more baseball talk and information going on with where everyone's seated and what our predictions will be. Yeah, that's about it, folks. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week.
All right, take care,
Thanks
guys.
for stopping by.
Later, players.